What's up, you guys? It's Layla and I'm back with another video. I actually recorded this video yesterday before last night's episode, and a lot of what I'm saying in this video when I'm talking about class and classism on Love Island, it is reflected on last night's episode. Let me turn this light down a little bit. And so on last night's episode, we saw a couple things happen. In the video that you're about to watch, I talk about social cues and how Aniya, I'm sorry, sweet Aniya, doesn't pick up on social cues. And I feel like it's because she grew up sheltered. Like, if you haven't been in a lot of social situations, you might not pick up on social cues. Or if you've been in social situations where you already have a certain type of status, maybe because your father is an NBA legend, you already have a certain type of status, so you don't pick up on social cues because everything is normal to you. People always cater to you. And I feel like that's Aniya's situation. And so I felt like her crying in front of TiTi and Casey was just another example of her not picking up on social cues. And I'm glad that Melanie, I don't want to say save her from that situation, but she did save her from that situation. And I think Aniya takes her social cues from Melanie. And you guys, for Melanie to recognize, okay, Aniya's not picking up that these people are like enjoying her crying. Like, Casey is over there smirking. And I said before, when Casey gave Aniya that first pep talk about her beauty, and I said he smirked after he did it. You guys know I study body language, and it's always something. When you see somebody smirking, it's always something to it. And a lot of times a smirk indicates like they feel like they got away with something. And when he gave Aniya that pep talk about her beauty, he smirked after he gave it to her. And that's why I felt like maybe it was manipulative. Maybe he felt like he got away with something with Aniya. But really what it was is that in this situation, what the smirk is about is like he feels powerful. And the reason he's trying to gain power over Aniya is because he did not feel powerful when no one was at his door. He still hurt that no one was at his door. So he's trying to regain his ego. He's trying to get that chip back, because his ego was chipped. And I feel like a lot of times that's why men cheat, because of their egos. When their egos get chipped, they have to get it back some way, somehow. And in his case, he wasn't cheating, because there's really no cheating in this game per se. There's lying, but there's no cheating. He wasn't cheating, but he was getting his ego back in the casa with TiTi, Sydney, with all of them. All of the women he was dating, he was regaining his ego. And it was really for the male gaze. It was for male approval. Casey does seem to be red pillified, which I feel like his generation is just part of his generation. And so the male gaze is very important to him. And so he was smirking, and Melanie saved her from that situation. And this is another reason why I feel justified in saying that Aniya takes her cues from Melanie, because when Melanie was pointing out that Casey is a Build-A-Bear compared to Aniya and Aniya's social circles, Melanie was right when she was saying Aniya would have to build Casey up to that circle. Like, he's not making business moves now. He's not in that type of network now. He's in a whole different field. And so she would have to build him up. And that's when, if you look back at it, that's when Aniya really kind of like stopped crying, at least for that moment. When the person she takes social cues from told her that Casey is not the one, she stopped crying. In the past, when Melanie said that she was interested in Casey and she was going to pull him for chats, even though Aniya was upset, I feel like that's when she started giving Casey more play. That's when she started putting Casey on a pedestal that she hadn't before. I'm just calling it how I see it, y'all. I'm just calling it how I see it. Part of what Aniya liked about Casey is seeing other women like him. Nobody wants to be with somebody that nobody else likes. And so at this point, Casey and TiTi are villains. And I feel like Casey realized that when TiTi told him, ain't nobody gonna talk crazy about you. I don't care if America hates us. I'm gonna put on for you. I'm gonna represent for you. And when she said, I don't care if America hates us, it looked like it hit Casey like, dang, America do gotta vote. This whole thing is about America's favorite couple. When it comes to the end of the day, dang, I'm not America's favorite couple anymore. And he could have been that with Aniya if he had just played the game, which is what Trinity is doing. I have to make a whole separate video about Trinity, but Trinity is playing the game. Casey and TiTi are villains, and Casey just realized that. And so when we talk about Aniya and her place in the casa, there was a moment where she was talking to Zach and Sincere, and she was saying she doesn't feel beautiful in the villa, which I hate to see. I hate to see a woman, especially a brown-skinned woman. I feel like my looks look closest to Aniya compared to anyone in the villa. And so I hate to see someone who I feel looks like me say they don't feel beautiful because I feel like there are so many types of beauty. Like beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, colors. And when you are in a room with women that don't look like you, your job is to represent for you, like your type of beauty. It doesn't matter what other people look like. You know what I mean? Just put on for your type of beauty. In my mind, I always hear that that Jeezy song. I put on for my city. It's like I put on for my beauty. I put on for my type. Like I put on for what I look like. I put on for brown skinned women. This is what it looks like. Get into it. You know what I mean? That's the vibe. And I wish Aniya had that, but I realized Aniya is only like 23. And so she's getting there, but she's not there yet. But in any case, that conversation also confirmed to me that Casey was giving her those pep talks about her skin tone and things like that because she needed it, which is what I thought from the beginning. Now, in the episode, we also saw Meg Thee Stallion tell Casey and Corbin, she was talking to the men, and she was like, you don't have to put the Villa women down to uplift the Casa women. And I was glad she said that to them, but I also felt like that was another moment where Casey realized, I don't look good in front of America. My only job here was to look good in front of America and win best couple, but I don't look good in front of America. And so I was glad. I was so glad Meg Thee Stallion came through and gave them that reality check. Like, it is not looking good for you. And you see TT trying to make up with the other women, like TT talking to Aniya, TT talking to a Trinity, apologizing to Trinity. I feel like TT is starting to get it, that it is a popularity contest with America. But at first she was not getting it. And Casey and TT, I believe they will be gone from this villa very, very soon. But while they're still here, specifically, I want to talk about Casey, Aniya, and the classism. These are these nuanced interactions we're seeing on Love Island. And I want to talk about the classism on Love Island. So I want to talk about Aniya and Casey from the perspective of class. So Aniya obviously grew up wealthy. From what we can tell, she said her father was in the NBA. She is employed by her family. Her family has a nonprofit. The fact that her family has a nonprofit signals wealth. If you're not familiar, that signals wealth. The fact that at her young age, 23, she's not out scrounging for a job. She could be employed by her family signals wealth. And for a lot of people, wealth signals class. And so when you take that, I don't want to say type of woman, but when you take a young woman in that situation, and then you have Casey, who is a certified nursing assistant, which from what I hear, I'm not a nurse, but from what I hear among nurses, that's like entry-level nursing, certified nursing assistant. And so possibly in the future, he may become that sexy male nurse, but right now he's a nursing assistant and it's a different class level. So this is the thing. When people perceive you as classy, like Aniya, and they perceive themselves from a perspective of a lower class than you, even if you never said to them, I'm classier than you, I grew up different from you. Even if you never said anything like that to them, they perceive it themselves. And so it's like a chip on their shoulder. I believe Casey perceives Aniya as classier than him because she comes from a wealthier family than him. She is not doing the things he has to do for money. When it comes to certified nursing assistants, a lot of them, I'll just say they work hard for their money. I'll just put it that way. They work hard for their money. And she is not doing those things. Like I think she said that she's the marketing director of her family's nonprofit. It's giving Portia. It's giving Portia and the Hosea Williams Foundation like she's working. But in any case, when people perceive you as classy, sometimes people take offense is what I'm saying. They take offense even if you've never tried to offend them. They take offense. And for Casey, he was already offended that she wasn't at his door. That was a big offense. Whether Aniya knew that or not, he wanted her at his door. Not Trinity, but her. And so that bruised his ego in the first place, the fact that she wasn't at his door. And then the fact that he perceives her in a different class than him. She said her father was in the NBA. Like, he's picking up all these class signals and he's saying, you know what? You bruised my ego. Whether he's showing it or not until the CATSA starts, he's saying you bruised my ego. And so when CATSA starts, it's a way for him to recover his ego. Like all of these other women, exploring with TT, exploring with the other young lady, I forget her name. I almost want to say Kennedy, but I feel like it's not Kennedy, but it's some other like really proper name. But in any case, he is restoring his ego. He's trying to fix his bruised ego. And someone like Aniya, who grew up, from what I could tell, it looks like she grew up sheltered because she doesn't pick up social cues. And that's why she was the second person at Sincere's door. She doesn't pick up social cues because she grew up sheltered. She's not understanding what's going on. He is fixing his bruised ego. And part of what bruised his ego is not only that did she not show up at his door when he wanted her there, but also he perceives her as a different class than him. Even if she never said it, he feels like she looks down at him. And the way this show is edited, the last episode was the first time I saw her say that she thought he was fine-ish. That's the first time we saw her say that. So I don't know if she's been saying that to him or not, but it seems like it's always him building her up. Like, at first I thought he was giving her pep talks. I thought he was trying to like kind of almost like manipulate her, but then I realized she's giving him that energy that she needs to be built up. So he's trying to build her up as far as her looks and things, as far as being in the casa with women with other looks. He's trying to build her up, but at the same time, his ego is bruised. He's working from a bruised place, and she is not picking up any of this. And this is why she didn't choose Carl. And this is what solidified it for me that the producers chose Carl in the first place, because when Melanie and Aniya had that moment when they were like, I miss my man, it was a lot of talk online. Well, did y'all choose the men that are here? And I talked about it on my YouTube channel about colorism, because it was like none of the darker skinned men got chosen to come back to the villa, the casa, or what have you. None of the darker skinned men. Aniya said she wanted to do it big this time. She was like, I could do this bigger and harder. If you want to do it bigger, if you want to do it harder, why you didn't choose Keon? And then that told me when her and Melanie had that moment and they said, I miss my man, that told me they never chose the man that came back, the men that came back to the casa. Like, those were not their choices. So I'm going to put that on the producers. And so when Aniya chose KC at the moment where she needed to make a choice, I feel like it was two things, or maybe even three. But I feel like number one, she never chose Carl in the first place. It wasn't a choice. It was never a choice between Carl and KC, because she never chose Carl in the first place. She was always trying to almost like make it up to KC. She was always trying to have a she was just always trying to almost like right her wrongs with KC. And then second of all, she never chose Carl. And then third of all, I don't think she has a strong sense of self. I felt like when she chose Sincere, the first time they had a chance to choose, when she chose Sincere, this is based on looking at her Instagram. A lot of her friends look like Melanie, and she kind of chose who her friends would choose for her, because a lot of her friends look like Melanie. But if you know dating, relationships, and psychology, people tend to choose who they look like. They tend to partner up with people who they look like. And that's why Melanie and Sincere keep telling each other they look like home, because they literally like look like each other's parents. But Aniya's not picking that up, because like I said, Aniya seems to be from a shelter background, and sometimes people from shelters background, sometimes they don't pick up social clues. And then number two, like I said, I feel like she's following Aniya. Aniya did all of this, all of that fussing, all of that fighting, still chose her man. Who else got their man back? Kata got her man back by default, but she felt like she was about to get her man back. She never wanted Carl. And that's why I was glad to see on the After Sun, Carl is smart, because Carl didn't want her back either. Carl was like, he would try Amora, and then you see the other girl. I'm gonna call her Kennedy because I can't remember her name, but Kennedy, you see her kiss Carl on After Sun. Because for Aniya, it was never Carl. It was never Carl. She was always trying to kind of like fix something with KC. And I feel like it was a moment where Melanie said she was going to try something with KC because Sincere wasn't acting right. And I feel like, y'all don't hate me for this, but I feel like once Melanie gave that clue that KC was wanted, that is when Aniya started showing more love to KC. She started wanting KC more, because she's a follower. She's still trying to find who she is as an individual, but right now she's a follower. And so she was following Melanie. She was following Melanie when she picked Sincere the first time, and she was following Melanie again when Melanie indicated that KC was fine shit, as they put it. All right, so I want to specifically talk about KC. I mentioned in my previous video that KC was trying to recover his ego. Ego is a big thing. I've mentioned ego before in my comments, and people have been like, well, why does it have to do with ego? Because everybody has an ego. Everybody has an ego. It's like a heart. Everybody has an ego, and I feel like his ego was bruised. When the woman he wanted, I do believe Part of him wanted Aniya to want him. Whether he wanted to end up with Aniya is a different story. But I do believe Casey wanted Aniya to want him. And when she initially didn't choose him, she chose Sincere. When they were behind the door, she chose Sincere. And so when it comes to the hierarchy, a lot of times we talk about women in a beauty hierarchy. But when we talk about a desirability hierarchy for men, Casey felt like when nobody was at his door, not just Aniya, but when nobody's at his door, and the woman he wanted, who was now paying the price, Aniya, was not at his door, that told him that Sincere was higher on that desirability hierarchy than him. And so let's fast forward to Soul, the bombshell that he actually was interested in. He said he felt blessed when she entered the villa. And he said he said two things. And this is why people get on Casey, because Casey do be lying. And he said two things. He told us that he wasn't pursuing Soul because of Aniya. And Aniya partly was kind of discouraging him. According to Soul, every time he did talk to Soul, not pulling her for a chat, but just little chit chats here and there, Aniya would show up, Aniya would interrupt. And so Aniya does have some insecurities. Aniya does have some insecurities regarding a man wanting someone that does not look like her. If you look at her Instagram, a lot of her friends do not look like her. A lot of her friends are mixed race. She said that her father was in the NBA, so it makes sense that a lot of her friends, if she is friends with her peers, the children of NBA stars, a lot of them are mixed race. And so she has an insecurity about a man wanting another mixed race woman. I do believe when Soul said she would interrupt those conversations, even though Soul is not mixed race, she's just lighter skin. Perception is everything, right? And people perceive her as mixed race. And so when she says that Aniya would interrupt her conversations with Casey, I do believe that to be true. But I don't believe that was the only reason that Casey would not pursue Soul. Because Casey also said that he saw that his boy Sincere was hooping, as he put it. Sincere was hooping, and he didn't want to interrupt Sincere hooping. Now, ask yourself, why is that? Why would he not want to interrupt Sincere hooping? When he's saying now, he's complaining about the girls in the villa not being like the girls in the casa. The girls in the casa will give any man a chance. But he's saying the girls in the villa won't date a man or give a chance to another man that their friend is dating or giving a chance. He was doing the same thing. And the reason, when it comes to Sincere, the reason he didn't want to interrupt Sincere hooping with Soul is because that first night when nobody was at his door and two people are at Sincere's door, he felt like, okay, on the desirability hierarchy, I am lower than I thought. Probably in his real life, because KC, he has a face card, he has a body, he does probably, I'm sure KC gets a lot of women in real life. Like, if we're just being honest, he is a handsome man. And a lot of times with women, you don't even gotta be handsome, you just gotta have the things. KC has the things and he has a handsome face, so I'm sure he gets a lot of women. But he felt like, oh, in this casa, this is my place, I'm lower than Sincere. So when Sincere is hooping, or even Corbin, if Sincere or Corbin is hooping, I'm going to back up. But it just so happens that him and Corbin, from what we can tell, they don't like the same type of woman, but him and Sincere do. I believe Casey likes Melanie. I do think he likes Aniya, but the way things happen, Aniya bruised his ego, or she's taking the brunt of that. I don't want to say she bruised it, but she's taking the brunt for bruising his ego because nobody was at his door. But more importantly, he is not really competing unless he's in a lane of his own. And so that's why when the new girl TiTi came in, that's why she specifically had that strategy. If y'all think the girls don't have strategy in 2026, if you don't think the girls have strategy, you're wrong. The girls have strategy. And that's why TiTi came in with that strategy, that I only want you. Because KC needs an aggressive woman. He needs a woman to say, I'm only here for you, I only want you. He doesn't want to work for it because his ego is bruised. He's working from a bruised place. So he doesn't want to work for it. He wants it to be easy because he's trying to recover his ego. And if he worked for it, that doesn't necessarily recover your ego if you had to work for it. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But if it just comes to you, like TT just comes to Sincere, then that recovers your ego. And I feel like that's why KC embraced TT, because that's the type of woman he wanted. And he didn't want to compete. And TT made it so he doesn't have to compete with another man for her love, attention, and affection. What KC is doing is working for him. He's gotten with a woman who doesn't require much effort. And he said he appreciated she doesn't require much effort. And I think in the villa or reality TV, that's fine. But just in real life, being aggressive with a man and being with a man that admires you because you're independent and you're aggressive, if you want kids, is not beneficial to you.